you could drop your prices to be the lowest, charge peanuts, lower than anyone in your city, and there's always going to be someone that still thinks you're charging too much, right?
Yeah, I can get the hookup down the street.
You could drop them so low, and then somebody's still gonna have a problem. Want like 2 for 1, right? How much just for one knuckle, right?
You end up paying them to get tattooed.
Giff will give you a free T-shirt on the way out the door.
That's fact.
But on the flip side of that, as you step into knowing who you are, your own power, you could raise your prices to higher than anyone in the city, and there will always be someone to see the value in it.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
What's your name?
Sybil.
Cool. Do you know my name?
Matt.
Yes, and what do you call me?
Aunt Matt.
Okay, what else do you call me? Who am I?
Dada.
That's right. I love your hair. I love what you've done with your hair.
Gross.
Gross. Yeah, it's okay. You work. Hey, girl, it's working for you.
I can't hear you.
Okay, there you go.
I can hear you.
Listeners, today on today's episode, it appears as we have a special guest rolling with me right now. This is my daughter, Sybil. She's my youngest of 3. How weird would it be if I invited you into my studio right now simply to come in and tell me what my daughter is worth? That would be weird, wouldn't it? How weird would it be for me to come over to your house and try and tell you what your family is worth? And that's indirectly also an indicator on how weird would it be for me to tell you what you're worth.
Hi, Miss.
Ladies and gentlemen, this week's an episode that is dear to my heart. You are not going to want to miss this. Myself, Hip, and Joshua Carlton open up a whole can of worms in the conversation around this thing called money, your self-worth, your clientele, and even the slow season. So many artists around wintertime, November, December becomes your slow season, and so many of you are also holding out for the tax season. But could there be more? Is there more to this life as a tattooer? Is there this thing called abundance that is already your inheritance? Today might be a day that you might even want to take notes. We open up a huge conversation around all of this slow season and this thing called money and what it could look like for you. Breakthrough in 2022. It's this much and more. Thanks for tuning in.
It's the holidays, and everybody's spending their money on their families and their friends, and nobody wants a tattoo. And if they do, they don't want what I'm charging for it.
Right.
So, like, I made a couple posts, like, I'll give a couple percentage off of this if we try this particular style, or hell, I've even given away a free portrait and I'm not getting any love, or like no one's really jumping on it, or if they do, they want to like modify it to their way. And me being the people pleaser I am, I almost like will do it just so I can do the tattoo, but I'm just not getting anything in return for like what I'm asking for, what I'm putting out there. And it's the slow season. Like Thanksgiving's over with, Christmas is right around the corner, and even after that into the New Year's, it still kind of lags a little bit. And I just I don't understand what's wrong or why no one's wanting a tattoo. So like I've even thought about maybe the whole posting like I'm busy or my books are closed.
Right.
But
I always feel like, sorry to interrupt you, I always feel like that looks so desperate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't like the way that comes across. But like, I've been tattooing forever, and I was always told, remember December, right? Like, don't, you're spending all this money on machines, and remember December because slow season's around the corner. And it seems like slow season lasts a lot longer than we remember the year before. But I also feel like we keep kind of making the same mistakes and spending that money that maybe we don't have or whatever, or overspending. But yeah, I mean, I definitely hear about it online, like a lot. Like I'm constantly, right? Are you just reading post after post? Is somebody special? Somebody's doing anything they can do to drag people in. And now we're also fighting COVID, right? So it's super easy for that client that left you a deposit to just all they got to basically say is they got a sore throat. And
Yep.
what are you going to do?
I had one this week cancel an in-person consultation on that.
And then so really they're remembering December, and they're like, oh shit, Christmas is right around the corner. So yeah, it's definitely it's an issue. It's something that I feel like we should probably know better by now, being as seasoned as we are, you know?
Well, and I mean,
sense.
especially you, and it feels good knowing, well, it doesn't feel good, but it gets me closer to the root of the problem when you said, you know, you've always heard remember December. So it's like, this is nothing new. And it's almost like us as tattoo artists have just accepted that this is the way it is, and that we couldn't possibly be misinformed by misinformed people, or someone's experiences dictate the rest of the industry's experiences now. So like, boom, there's a slow season. And, you know, you did say, you said that I don't really dig that. It looks desperate. So like, when you're saying that, are you talking about like it looks desperate personally to you, or like if I'm chopping it up with you at the shop and I'm telling you these things, like you're seeing that as desperate? Or how do you think the clients feel? What's that look like to the clients?
I don't know if the clients know as much, because if they see a deal, they're going to be excited. You know, obviously, if they're not booking with you, they're not excited enough. But every time I see a post, it just looks hungry to me. It looks like you're just, you know, I don't know. I'm not going to beg for tattoos. I'm just not. You know what I mean? I'll go home and paint. I'll do something else. But, you know, you mentioned that you're happy to hear me say this, and obviously it's a problem. I believe it's probably a problem worldwide, but one of my favorite things that Matt likes to talk about is let's find a solution. You know, we can sit here and we can bitch about the problem, and we can just wax and wane all day about this problem, or we can find a solution, right? So with that being said, let's focus on that. Let's figure it out right now.
That sounds like a good fucking idea.
When you were just sharing, are you talking in real time, or are you relating to your past, or you're talking right now in this season?
I was talking right now in this season with the client that canceled for tomorrow for the in-person consult.
Right.
I didn't mention that I've got 2 more consults coming in that are already bringing deposits and booking. Just as relatability, because, you know, it is as simple as that. Oh, you know, I got a mild cough, so maybe COVID. That's totally cool. That's totally understandable. I'd rather you play it safe, especially with me and my coworkers in my shop. But what I started out with was past experiences that I've gone through and have experienced and tried to do and tried to implement, that none of it ever worked and didn't get me any closer to what I was wanting to come to fruition.
Right.
But it's a whole different story now.
Uh-huh. Okay, and speak to that a little. So it's a whole different story now, so obviously you can relate to not eating. You can relate to slow seasons. Mm-hmm. And so you can relate to the perceived not slow seasons. You know how many artists like wait till tax time comes, right?
Yeah, income tats.
Right, as if there's fluctuation of seasons. You got a down season, a slow season where you may starve and get real depressed and worry and be in fear and lack. Mm-hmm. But just those guys are the guys that are like, man, it's just part of this. This just comes with the territory. It happens every year. Remember last December?
Right.
But then they also hold out like a few months. Just can we get by until tax time? As if that's now when your abundance comes back, because it left you for a few months.
Right.
Abundance is a fickle thing. It like leaves you, right? But now
which is the exact definition of abundance.
But no, and even though we're laughing because we know the other side of this coin,
Fuck yeah.
We can really wholeheartedly relate, can't we?
Totally.
You said it's a different story now. Can you speak to that a little?
Yeah, so when I say different story, let's just take the word story out and inject mindset, right? Because it's all what it always boils down to. It's your perception, it's your mindset on things, it's you accepting things as a certain way, as factual, when it's not even really that, right? Like landscapers, okay? They've got a seasonal occupation. Unless they're below the dew line, then they're good all year round. Tattooers do not. And I'll repeat that. Tattooers do not have a slow season.
Right.
It's just been implemented in our industry, and people have taken it as truth and threw their hands up and said, well, I guess that's just how it is. So here comes slow season. Let me prepare and bucker down, and hopefully I can wait this out and my shop stays afloat or my business stays afloat or people remember me during this time. Now, this transition with me didn't happen overnight. Like, it was a process of years and understanding and growing and like getting myself closer to people, because if you look online right now, you'll see all these people, badass artists, you know, fucking killers at realism, and then the dudes that do like the dope ass fucking trad pieces, and they may not even be, and in both categories you may have just mediocre all right artists in both of those categories, but they're still pumping out brand new work over and over again from a paying client. Sometimes you'll see them on Christmas, where people will just go in and tattoo on Christmas. Now, if there is such thing as a slow season, how could somebody even afford to get a tattoo on Christmas if they're spending it on their family? Well, it goes back to like the word Matt said, abundance, right? It's not a fickle thing, and it's actually a law of the universe. And like, we speak on a lot of these different things. There's the law of lift. There's the law of gravity. There's the law of attraction. There's the law of manifestation, a law of abundance, a law of correspondence. And like, these things are scientifically proven to just be, right? Wherever your attention lies, whatever you focus on is what you're going to get in return. So if I'm focusing on there's a fucking slow season, and I'm speaking through my experience because I focused on that bullshit that we all fell into. You just heard Josh talking about it, and fuck, he's a vet and he's been in the game forever. Remember December. Okay, well, that's scary. That sounds like I need to prepare for something that I'm not even sure of exists yet for you new tattoo artists or people that are new to the industry. So it's like, I better prepare for this, and I'm already filling my mind abundantly with the wrong ideas. So in turn, I'm going to get an abundance of wrong information, and it's going to show up in my life.
Right.
So that's why I said replace the word story with mindset, because once I switch it around and I start asking the right question and then impregnating my mind with the questions and the outcomes that I want to happen, like I know they're going to happen, and putting people in my life that also hold me accountable to that mindset and show me tangible evidence because they're already in that mindset and implementing these principles in their life, now I can see that it's possible. And that was part of my process, is like doing that, being in that circle and seeing it and realizing like, holy shit. I remember, it's funny because we got an artist at our shop, and she talks a lot about like slow season and shit. And I had someone message me that's been listening to the podcast, and I guess we had brought it up in the one that we recently just dropped. And I read it first thing this morning, and I'm usually not the nicest person in the morning, although the dude was like coming. He was just being a sweetheart, and he was like, yeah, your podcast is dope, and you guys were talking about slow season. I'm just interested in that even more. And my response was like, what's slow season? Because it's no longer a thing. It's no longer on my radar, because I worked, I changed, I grew, and got to a place up until our most recent employee started talking about it. I forgot that it even existed.
Yeah, as well as it should. So just for the people that are listening, obviously, I do not really believe in a slow season. I'm here to debunk it.
Yeah,
I'm here to debunk it with the guys, because that's the truth. The truth is that you get yourself into a mental mindset that there's a slow season. You sit around the shop, you bitch all day long about how it's the slow season and how we're going to get through it. Well, guess what? Get up, go to the mall, go get a client. You know what I mean? Are you really putting in the work? Like, let's just be honest with ourselves for a minute. Are we sitting around playing PlayStation and bitching that it's the slow season and being a victim like you have many times in your life? Or are you doing something about it?
But
You know,
yeah, you're Joshua Carlton, though. People know you all around the world. It's different for you.
Sure, and I understand that that's an easy. I'm told that a million times. But I come from some shops where you had to go do something. You know what I mean? The boss, when I wasn't the boss, my boss made us. He didn't let us just sit around. It would be go to the mall, get a client, right? Make some kind of money this day. And those are the things that you definitely realize when there's the victim, and you see it all around you all the time. And I learned early on that I'm not going to be a victim, and not just of a slow season, but just in my life in general. and living to not be a victim has done well for me. And it's something that I think all three of us can pass on to you guys that are listening, and we can get through this. And you're going to sit here next year and you're going to realize, remember December, yeah, because Christmas is rad, and that's about it. You're not going to be feeling like, I'm preparing for it. Here we go. I'm going into it like that, Right, Matt? What do you think? I mean, this is bullshit, right? There's not a slow season.
Well, we're all speaking from experiences,
right?
Like that's all I have to offer. I can't give you a suggestion because I won't. I'll give you my experience about something and how it worked or didn't work for me. So yeah, of course. Like I almost think it's, if you come up in this industry, then you know what we're talking about. I don't know one artist that doesn't, unless they just were fucking, well, yeah, there's probably some in our shop that fucking get it or don't know what we're talking about.
Right. I'm a kid in a candy store with this conversation, boys. Yes. I love it. Man, you guys are bringing up so many things, and you listeners, you viewers, can you relate? Can you relate to what they're saying? Of course you can, because we all can. But the good news is that Hip and Josh are declaring that it doesn't have to be so. So far, to the point they are making such the audacity for them to say slow season. What slow season? There is no slow season. What audacity do these guys have to tell you that? You may be sitting here thinking, you don't know me. You don't know my town, my shop, my struggles. The economy around here blows out, right? You've got your reasons why your reality says otherwise. You guys can fucking sit there on the podcast, say whatever you want, but I'm starving right now. It's definitely the slow season. And let's pause for a minute to make a proper distinction on what this is even is. We're talking about the fruit versus the root. And the slow season is rotten fruit in your life. But it is not the cause. See, if you're experiencing these things, there is a deeper root issue that's gone on. This is why Hip brings up mindset. Why? Because we attract who we're being. He dropped like 4, maybe 7 laws. The law of gravity is another one, right? The law of correspondence you brought up, which kudos to you for bringing up the law of correspondence. The whole world's heard of the law of attraction, right? But there's other laws equally like gravity that's a real law in this universe, right? There's the law of repulsion, which is the opposite of the law of attraction. When you're focus on what you want, then your own monkey mind kicks in to disqualify you and tell you why you're not worthy of that, right? And the battle to get in the flow state isn't to just focus on one and ignore the other. No, it's to actually be aware of the other, and so that you can properly put it in its place in your own head. The quality of our life comes down to the quality of our communication, starting with our own self, right? So your reality is a direct reflection. Your outer world is a direct picture of what's gone on your inner world. That's the law of correspondence. How you think, how you see yourself, how you see your business. If you see December's gonna be bad, that's what's on the inside of you. The law of correspondence, the whole universe is designed to serve you, is going to give you fruit, give you the evidence therein of that which you are creating with your own thoughts. Okay, let's pause. Matt's getting a little fucking woo here. Let's get some real tangible, tactical things to give our listeners, right? If that's too woo for you. For starters, we've noticed, of course, most of you know by now that we have a coaching program called Tattoo Business Mastery, and boy, we get the things like this settled in your life once and for all, don't we, boys?
Yep.
Right.
But we realize that all artists, most people, but especially us creatives, have a weird emotional connection around this thing called money to begin with, right? We attach all kinds of meanings around it, even some from our upbringing, that aren't serving us. That's not true, but we didn't know that. You may not know that. You may be holding and carrying all kinds of limiting beliefs about you and your relationship with money, your self-worth, what How much is enough? And anything beyond that, now you're a bad guy or a bad girl. Now we attach morality to it, right? So many people, but especially artists, have a weird emotional connection around money and somehow turn it into it's a bad thing. It's a yuck thing. So many people are uncomfortable even talking about it. But man, you're really good at complaining and bitching about it, aren't you? Right?
Yep.
You know, so that's where we got to start a little bit at the root in your relationship and even the meaning and what money really is, let alone where the fuck it comes from, right? So we can take morality out of it. Money's just like a tool in your life to help aid you in your purpose, in your vision, for you to walk out your own destiny. Why would you want to chop a tree down with a butter knife when chainsaws exist? And if you're trying to chop a tree down with a butter knife and call that humility, I'm here to tell you it's false humility. Wouldn't you rather just have the right tool to be more proficient, to get that job done so that you can get on to stepping into the being of who you were called and created to be? We need the right tools. We all use tattoo machines. We had an episode with Carson Hill and we talked about a great tool called the Numa machine and even gave one away, right? It's a tool. Now, you don't attach morality to your tattoo machine, right? It's part of your tool for you to do what you were called and created to do, to enlighten and to share your gifts with the world. And money is another tool in your tool belt on this thing called life, like your tattoo machine. It's not good, bad, right, or wrong. Depending on what you really want to be up to in life, you will need the tool called money to fund that. But let's back it up. Do you deserve it? Well, I don't know. Do you? The answer is yes, but it don't matter if you don't think so. Mm-hmm. See, here's the good news about abundance. Folks, we are living in an infinite world and universe full of abundance. I'm talking an ever-expanding, ever-growing universe to the point where not one scientist has been able to even find the end of it. It's still expanding. It's still growing. It's still going, right? Those of you who believe in scriptures, I can sum the whole Bible up of how it breaks down you in reference to your relationship with God, your Father. Let me paint it to you like this. If there was a scenario of a few sons and their father, right now in today's world, were like multi-billionaires, and that father, who's a multi-billionaire, loves his sons, and his sons love him. Do you think his sons will prosper in life?
Of course.
Because they love each other, and dad is rich. Anything his sons wants to attempt or try, do you think they'll prosper? Of course they will. One, because they got love. Two, because they're rich. Anything they want to try, endeavor, is funded. That's the way Scripture paints you out, right? What I'm getting at is no matter what you believe in, all science, all religions, quantum physics all point to the same thing, that the world is abundant and it's already here. Meaning you do not even have to worry about creating your own abundance. It's already been created for you. It's here. It's been here. It's all around you. But and you don't even have to create it, but what we create is limiting beliefs, blocking us from our own inheritance from our Father, blocking us from all the quantum physics, blocking us from our already existing inheritance. Our limiting beliefs keep us slammed in the land of lack. Now, we address this throughout the coaching program, and you can fight to hang on to all your limiting beliefs if you want to, and your reward is you get to keep them. And you can remember December and be stuck and starving and scared every winter the rest of your career if that's what you really want. But we're here to tell you it don't have to be that way. It's never had to, and it can stop today. So, humorous for a minute. If you're thinking, okay, guys, well, I'm listening, but now I don't even fucking know where to start. Like, if that's true, if you're telling me I don't have to experience a slow season ever again, well, what does that look like? And how do I step into that? I'm guessing some of our listeners are asking, right? Well, just join Tattoo Business Mastery and we'll teach you. I'm just kidding. No. So let's give them some hope. Let's give them some real tangible tactics, right? Now, Hip, you brought up mindset. How can we use you an example of what areas of your life do you feel like helped you to receive your own abundance? Because in that mindset, you had to get past your own unworthiness, your own feeling like I don't deserve this, your own, right? Like somehow your mindset has completely changed. What you once could not see, now you can see so clearly. And so oftentimes when we grow, we can forget what it was like to not know what is our everyday MO now, right? And so I didn't know if there's, or if any point, if something comes up like, oh yeah, I used to totally think so limited and I was slammed in lack and I didn't even know it. But
I got one. And it's funny because I'm listening to you talk and I'm like going through my Rolodex, and there were the mind shift that I've shifted to and now almost is like expired and is no longer serving me. So now it's time to like just
level
keep
up again.
Right.
Come
But
on.
the only difference, because the fear's still there, right? And the uncertainty and sometimes the lack of self-worth. But now I've got this little thing, and it's a powerful tool, and it's called experience. So I know that it works. If I follow the blueprint that's been laid out, it'll work again in this scenario and that scenario, and it'll just keep going. And my environment will change. My mindset will change. And it's funny because, like, okay, so we're talking about money, and like a good distinction of mindset is, all right, so let's say I'm charging $200 for a tattoo. Boom, somebody walks in, and this is old mindset. They would come in, and I would be the artist to be like, but I love this. It ain't about the money. Right. And I come to find out that when I was quick to say that, it was because of my insecurities I was trying to project, because it was about the money, because I needed the money. So I would say that to cover it up as like a humble justification that I just love what I do, because now I love what I do and I love money, and they go hand in hand. But so a guy come in, and let's say
real quick, you know what? I saw a quote today earlier, and it's hitting on this because you fall into people pleasing mode, right? And it said, people pleasing is an unconscious attempt to control someone's opinion of you.
Oh yeah, totally, dude.
You know?
It's manipulation. My sponsor says this shit all the time. Like, he cut it because people pleasing is a pretty word. If you cut it down for what it fucking is, it's a lying manipulator, is what it is.
Jeez, that's not so pretty now.
No, it's not a people pleaser. It's a fucking liar.
Man.
But so, guy comes in, he wants tattoo for $200, or I tell him, hey, this is going to be $200. And then he hits me with the old, oh man, like dude down the street said this, but I really want to do it and I haven't done any tattoos all week and I kind of need the money. So I hit him with this. Well, look, man, it ain't about the money for me, and like, fuck it. What do you got? Now I've given my power over to the client. And they tell me they got X, Y, and Z. Oh, I got $120. Okay, cool. Well, now I'm sitting down and I've dedicated my time to do a tattoo, one that I probably don't like, but at the time I wasn't even aware that I didn't like it, because I do love fucking tattooing and I wasn't picky on what I did. So I would just do it, and I would feel or tell myself that I was doing it because I love it and I'm passionate for it, and it wasn't about the money. But once I made the clear distinction and shifted my mindset, I realized now that I was even more thirsty for the money, because I was whoring myself out for whatever the fuck they had to give me. I didn't stay firm in my price, and if they walked out, let them walk out. No, because I was scared of that. I got to have it. I need it now. Lack. I'm like not seeing the abundance in it. I didn't realize that could possibly be an opportunity for me to apply a lesson and grow, because if I would have let that person walk out, maybe the next person would have walked in wanting to give me $300. But I couldn't ever get that far because of the fear and the lack and my justification of, but fuck, it ain't about the money. I just love the art. So that's a big distinction that I've noticed.
And we attract who we're being. Back to the law of correspondence. What was going on in your inner world is who you attracted. The very people. Because your inner world was in lack, in desperation, in just low frequency, that's the clients that you were attracting. Now, driving by the shop all around the city were like upper echelon clients that it's not even on their radar. There's no gravitational pull. There's no frequency, energetic pull to bring you two together because your inner world was repelling them. Right? This is why we must address the inner man, the inner artist first. And once you get freed up on the inside, everything on the outside will align with that. We know sitting here right now this to be true. You could drop your prices to be the lowest, charge peanuts, lower than anyone in your city. And there's always going to be someone that still thinks you're charging too much, right?
Yeah, I can get the hookup down
But
the street.
you could drop them so low, and then somebody's still gonna have a problem. Want like 2 for 1, right?
Right.
How much just for one knuckle, right?
You end up paying them to get tattooed.
Gip will give you a free T-shirt on the way out the door.
That's fact.
But on the flip side of that, as you step into knowing who you are, your own power, you could raise your prices to higher than anyone in the city, and there will always be someone to see the value in it. We know this by our experience because we've have lived on both ends of the spectrum. Josh brought up in past episodes that as you grow in your inner man and grow in your own self-worth, which is putting respect on it and calling you to a higher place to now usher into your own gifts and deliver at the highest level as your highest self because you just put respect on it. Meaning when you raise your prices, when you put top dollar on your own gifts, it calls the best version of you out to show up. Like, now I gotta make this worth it, right? And Josh brought up in past episodes, he noticed it attracted a whole new clientele, a whole new type of people, right?
I think that was the biggest thing for me because I'll be completely honest. This entire thing, this has been one of my most difficult things to grow into.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it. I thought it was bullshit. I thought I'm just going to waste my time. And like the truth is, as Hip talks about it, I do really love tattooing so much that I do give tattoos away for free, but it did turn into something going on with my self-worth. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
That I don't even know about yet.
Yeah.
But I noticed, because I wasn't told that my clientele would change, but it's really strange what happened. Almost immediately, it's like this clientele shift happened. And suddenly people weren't even necessarily interested in what my rates were. It was all about the artwork. It was all about the tattooing for them as well, because they sought me out and were wanting my particular brand of work, and whatever it cost was what they were going to pay. So they didn't even, it didn't even come up, to be completely honest with you, Matt. Most of the time, the price doesn't come up.
Right.
But it kind of blew my mind because I had been tattooing a really long time before any of this happened. And I would actually brag about how I would give tattoos away and it's all about the art for me, because in my heart, it really, really is. But I didn't realize how Hip really nailed it. You know, what a people pleaser can actually be. And you've heard me in the past even say, I like to do things for people all of the time. And sometimes I wondered if there's a little bit of narcissism in there, if that's even the right word. But like, when I make you feel good, I feel good. So am I doing it for myself? Is it an altruistic thing? Like, again, there's so much to unpack. Clearly, I've got some issues. But circling back, yes, I noticed it quickly. I noticed the clientele changed. And I would certainly think that if I were to change the way my pricing structure works again, I would have some new type of clientele as well.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It really does. It really, really does. And we see that in any market. If we drive down to the ghetto right now, to the used car lot in the ghetto, right? Down next to my old house on Dixie. whoever's in that parking lot, including who works there, is all a certain frequency, certain type of folk, right? But if we go to the BMW dealership or a Cadillac, the people in there is going to be different type of folk. It's not good, bad, right, or wrong, but there's two different levels of frequency, energy, and price tags and people with it, right? We see it in every industry that the value you put on you, your service, your product will attract that type of clientele.
And
Sorry.
just for the listeners, there can be a fucking Mercedes and Cadillac dealer in the ghetto and radiate at that high fucking frequency.
Come on.
And there can also be a fucking used car dealer in the fucking Hamptons that radiates at that low frequency.
That's right. That's right. That's
So just to
right.
make sure I'm understanding correctly. So earlier we mentioned, when we're saying remember December, and I said, somebody's a victim of doing this, having this mentality, because it's easy for them to say, well, you don't know me. You don't know where I'm from. It's slow for me. Have they been slow? Because is that what's going on, right? They're attracting, that's what they've attracted to themselves. And
It
they
is,
don't
but
even
they
know.
That's
don't
right.
even
They don't know
right?
it. They're not doing it on purpose, right? That's just the way it is.
Okay.
That's the way it's always been.
So that's,
when
so that's easy to have their truth, right? That is their truth.
Totally.
Because they're living
It's
it,
true
they're
for them.
experiencing it. But you're
That's
telling
right.
me that we can change that.
your whole, you can change your
you
reality.
Can change that.
Yeah.
So that's mind blowing to me. I mean, I'm experiencing it. Keep in mind, I'm still new at this.
Yeah.
But I am experiencing it. But it's just, it almost, my whole life, if it's too good to be true, it probably is, right? But this is, sometimes it honestly feels like magic. How many times I've texted you so many times. Matt, and I've even literally said to you, I don't know what else to say, but this is happening in my life. It's not even just tattooing. It's just, my life is pretty awesome.
Come on.
Right? My life is kind of amazing. I'm always telling my wife, like, I almost feel guilty. So I have a little bit of survivor's remorse or survivor's guilt because I just wake up really happy. But so much of that comes from this shift. I made it a lot slower than a lot of people, but I'm trying to put it together for our listeners, just so you know, I'm with you and I'm feeling it out as I navigate through this. But it's so, I don't even know what the right word is. It's powerful, but it's also very uplifting, and it's very, very controlling your own reality. I don't know how to put my finger on that, but it's happening.
Yes, and you don't just get to do that once, right? To make that shift and to change your reality once, and which it always starts with once, but that becomes your new reality, and then you get to change it again and change it again.
Do you ever have days, Matt, like, or Hip even, like I have days pretty constantly where I just kind of go, holy shit, this is my life? And I got a lot of crazy shit going. We all do, right? We got some fucked up shit going on in our lives.
Yeah.
But I still am able to go, wow, this is the life I get to live. And I didn't get to used to live this. I know people are like, 30 years tattooing, tattooing for veteran in the game, whatever. That's all fine and dandy. But I was depressed. To be honest with you, I was in a dark place.
So you are the proof that you could be world renowned, have a ton of followers on social media, award winning. Everyone else is dreaming to one day even get to your level.
It did not fulfill me.
That's right. And it did, because you're the proof that if we're not settled and whole on the inside, it don't matter how badass you appear to be on the outside.
Right. And that's exactly what was going on for most of my career. We talk about, like kind of like being a charlatan or whatever. That was a part of that as well. My imposter syndrome was a part of that as well. I looked so together and happy and I had everything figured out, and I did not. I still don't, but I'm getting closer. And at the end of the day, I'm getting closer to when I lay down, put my head on the pillow and go to sleep at night, I kind of like myself.
Man, come on.
And it's been a long time. It took me a long time to get there, So even as you're saying this, and I know it's truthful, and not to get so personal with you guys, with my listeners, but it feels so crazy to say that, to be honest with you. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. So
love it. And you know what else Josh is speaking to? Just to be clear, listeners, abundance isn't just about money.
No.
Oh, not at all.
abundance.
That's great that you said that. Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, it's every area of your life. Josh's life has been enriched because he's learning to receive his own abundance, and it shows up in every area. True richness is richness in your relationships, richness in your soul, in your heart, with your spouse, with your wife, with your children, with your coworkers, with your clients. And the
Yes.
money on an energetic level just follows to confirm that abundance that you're walking in every area of your life. You know, this ain't just about money. This is just a tool that comes along with it. Right? I love the Bob Marley quote where he says, "Some people are so poor, all they have is money."
Well, wow, that's powerful. That's
Right?
amazing.
Right.
Yeah,
This
because that's a
isn't-
part of it. It's just so like everything flows. Everything flows for me. Like, you know, I've got through my cancer diagnosis, I've become at least friends on the internet with a lot of people that have cancer, and I've lost a lot of them. I had a lot of loss this year. People that I actually really know, people that I just talk to online, and it hurts and it sucks. And Hip talks a lot about his stories with addiction. We're losing people. You know, doesn't anybody just die of old age anymore? The same thing. You know, that's what Hip said. But I read somebody that he's suffering from cancer, and he made a post about how he doesn't feel like he's the man he used to be. He's just kind of living in between. And I really understood that because you know, when you lose your beard and you lose your ability to do these things, you feel like less of a man and less of a husband and less of a tattoo artist. I've not tattooed much at all. You know what I mean? But somehow through that, I've chosen not to live in that world of cancer. I call it being, you know, I won't be a victim.
Yeah.
And this has been a massive part of that feeling of being able to wake up and feel through all of this turmoil to feel good. And I know, Matt, you've got some personal things going on in your life that are pretty tragic.
Yeah.
But you choose to feel good, not some fake thing. That's important too.
That's
it's important,
right.
very important, not to just live in, I'm positive all the time and I don't know what's going on. That's not doing that's not serving anybody, right? We're
That's
very
right.
realistic.
Yep.
But it is really happening.
Yes.
And I don't know how to, I'm not trying to sell anything on anybody. I guess I'm not understanding there yet, Matt. I don't know why it's working so well, but it is, and I'm incredibly thankful.
Yes. Oh my God. Woo! This makes me just want to run around the building and celebrate. Right?
I dare you, do it right now.
Well, you know, not too long ago we would have made a joke, but I'm sure Matt runs just fine now. He's all whipped in shape. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm a little caught up in it. So I apologize for all my fumbling with words. I'm a little caught up in this. I have a lot of questions. I'm probably gonna have a lot of questions in the future episodes. So again, for our listeners, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you as we kind of like navigate this together. Like,
Me too.
I fully invite you to do this with me. Come experience this with me because I've already started. It's changed my life. Thank God that I have that ability, that this happened to me because like you've heard me talk in the past, it was dark and it sucked and I hated it. And life was just, I was living in these in-between moments and I'm living my life. And to be honest with you, the money part isn't something I think a lot about. And again, people are like, sure, that's easy when you have money. But even when I didn't have any money to even buy my family dinner, I still found it working.
Right.
But as things grew, just like you said, Matt, as I started to understand and make this work, the money just naturally came.
That's right, because the shift that you're talking about happened and is still happening on the inside of you. And so
Right.
the whole outer world is shifting to mirror your shift.
Yeah.
And it always has done that. So when back in the days when we shifted it to lack, when we shifted to remember December, the outer world's like, yes, sir, here's your lack. Yes, sir, here's your slow season. Because you had a shift of slow season on the inside. But when we can learn to make the shift on the inside that, hey, maybe this isn't all there is. Maybe what'd you say? I've been uninformed from uninformed people. This is how it's always been done, right?
Correct.
When you can get an angel to show up in your life to tell you that there's more and that you're worthy, that you deserve it. Abundance is yours and it's here and it's always been here. You're actually rich. And if you can at least take that on, try it on, and just make a little shift, boom, big shifts out here will start to happen.
And see, so there's factors that go into that make it extremely hard. And like with my experience, one, this is something that's been programmed into me for so long, and I've seen it, right? Because I've been that, and my attention is mirroring back where my mindset was, that it can't be just that fucking simple. Like,
Yeah.
it needs to be there needs to be something more to happen to equal the return for all this shit that I've learned in my entire life, and this bullshit and the struggles and the hardships. It can't just simply fucking be that. And that is going against me. And also, I'm all about instant gratification. So it's like, I might stick my toe in the water, and if I don't see no change from that, then fuck it, it doesn't work. Matt, you always say like people that will bitch about like food that they've never even tried, and it's like you're not even willing to taste it before you just discredit it and not even try it before you have an opinion about it. So it's like I was that guy forever. And man, so like the self-help shit that I do in my recovery process, I brought this mound of fucking bullshit with me, and trauma and pain and agony I caused myself and those around me. And they told me, like, find another guy, tell him your secrets, and then write about them and share what you wrote with to him. Thank God that when I was told that, I didn't believe any of it, and I thought I'd found a new group of people I could hang out and manipulate and steal from eventually, because I burn all my bridges over here. So now I found this group of motherfuckers that don't know who I am, because I'm a social chameleon and I'm good at lying and manipulation. So I'm just going to fake it till I make it, or fake it until I get what I want from you. And in doing that, I was able to fall in to like the doing unaware, and found out that like, holy shit, this little act of kindness that I do towards myself, or this mindset shift, has changed so much in my life. Like, people give me keys to their house. You know, I've been in Matt's house when he's not here. I got keys to the shop. I got keys to my parents' house. There was a time when they told me they wouldn't give me their key ever again, and that I was not welcome. But it's changed, all because I tried the food that I said I didn't like for so long. And that experience has just catapulted me further into things like here a few years ago. I'm faced with the same dilemma. It's just the surface is different. Now it's like Matt said, charge this amount for this tattoo when the next person comes in. I don't know, but I've got him on a pedestal and I want to make him happy, so I'm going to do it. And I did. And I'd be damned if it didn't fucking work. And it was that shift again. It was like, holy shit, it literally is this simple. And after doing that and having experienced that tangible evidence, I realized that like, it is literally that simple of an act to do. Now, because I'm telling you that it's simple doesn't mean that it's easy, because we do have those years of programming that's been weighing on us, and now we're being told it's just simply this. And if you're like me and you want instant gratification, sometimes it doesn't come instantly. Sometimes you just have to keep doing it, but you'll notice small awakenings, like Josh was talking about when he was texting Matt. Like, he started this just for shits and giggles. Fuck it, I'll give it a try. And he would text Matt like, holy shit, like, this is, I'm noticing something here, I'm noticing something there, and it's working. And like, we're starting to get to a little secret about like the evolution of like this podcast, right? We called it the Tattoo Guardians podcast, and it was like branded that because we want to help the tattoo industries, and we're 3 fucking tattoo artists, and we want people that are like-minded like us. But the secret is, this really ain't got shit to do with fucking tattooing at all. At all. Like, it's applicable in every area. I can't tell you how many people that are I'm friends with or that have reached out to me that don't even fucking work in this industry. They may be a fucking dental assistant or a plumber, or my daughters listen to this and their boyfriends listen to it. It has nothing to do about tattooing, but we had to disguise it, right? Because this is just life. And our journey just happens to be tattooing people. And when you got motherfuckers like Matt Klimmer and Joshua Carlton speaking on some shit, of course the tattoo industry is going to want to listen. So we kind of had to disguise it a little bit. But
yeah, and at the same time, though, tattoo artists all over the world are a special breed of people.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're asked of on the daily is unlike what other professions are asked of.
Mm-hmm.
So you are one of a kind. You are unique. Our impact, our touch on the world is more forever than almost any other.
Fuck yeah.
We get to be therapists. We get to be healers. We get to be listeners. We get to be self-esteem builders. We get to be manifestors. We get to help someone take their vision and actually manifest it, take it to the next level. We have the honor of getting to be a part of the rest of people's lives. But I think also what Hip's touching on is it's bigger than us, and it's even bigger than the tattoo.
Right.
The impact we get to have on someone can outweigh and exceed the tattoo we just gave on them. And what's required and asked of you on an energetic level is more than just what your stretching hand is doing and your right hand's doing with that mag in your hand. There's a whole other world going on the inside of you, is it not? From the pressures to everything. And so we know it being tattooers ourselves, but that's why we touch on this inner work, because we know the turmoil's on the inside, even when you're worrying about your light source. It all is connected. Mm-hmm. And we got such a heart and adoration for you tattooers, and thankful for all you non-tattooers that are joining us too. And so that regard, it is about tattooing, because this is about you. But it's bigger than us, right?
Right.
Man,
right.
so much bigger.
Yes, man.
I noticed too, like when I started living this way is the best way to describe it. Even the people that just message me, it's a different kind of people. I'm just kind of constantly surrounded by some pretty wonderful people. I really am. I'm super fortunate that I get these texts and everything, and I'm so happy and I read every one of them, and it really means a lot to me. But there seems to be a connection where I'm always able to go, we could all be in one room together. Like, these people are really like-minded. We very much think in the same way. And that started happening pretty quickly. And it made it easier for me to be in that world, because I was just constantly surrounded by those people.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It
was almost instant.
We attract who we're being.
Yeah.
You know? And when your way of being grows, expands, evolves, this isn't about you stepping into or becoming someone that you are not. This is about you peeling back the layers for the real you to show up on a greater level, right?
I like how you're talking about peeling layers, because like that's something that we share in recovery. You know, there's so many fucking layers to this.
Yeah, there are.
And Josh was how he was talking, like, I don't know how the fuck this works, and he was trying to put into words, but it's like, you know, it's like, you know, we're in a box, and then we grow and we grow and we grow, and we fucking start to get confined in that box. A lot of people, me included, would stay confined and just plateau. The other option is to like believe that there's another box to get into, and then boom, you're in this whole other fucking box in this whole other world, only to keep growing, and now you're confined again, and you just keep blowing out these boxes. That's why we always say, like, there's no ceiling at aisle 9, because once you've reached a ceiling, that, for me at least, is a good measuring stick to be like, okay, now look inward harder, because there's something that I'm missing, or a lesson that I didn't pick up on that I need to look at in order to like grow, because I've hit a stopping point. So there's something now, and a lot of times it's usually not anything that I'm thinking of. You know, like, man, I could go for a whole episode on what I'm about to say, but just here lately, like my particular clients, there's something with me that's attracting them because I'm getting a lot of no's, and that's cool. Well, it's not cool, and nor is it slow. The season's still good, but just I've picked up in my discernment that I'm doing something, or there's some kind of lack with me and my process right now that is attracting this certain type of people, and I don't know what it is, but I've been here before many times, and that's how I got the discernment, and I know that there's a red flag and there's something I need to look at. So like that's why you seen me. I sent you guys that painting. I was painting on TBM.
Right.
Like I'm trying to find something or figure out what direction to go where I can put my energy towards to get over this. And I'm just gonna equate it up to a growing pain because I've been here so many times throughout my career, my process, that I know that it's always darkest before dawn.
Do you think you've become complacent possibly? Like something has happened to where you're not attracting the same type of stuff, right?
I think that a few weeks ago we had that big thing with the imposter syndrome. I talked to a bunch of people because pain shared is pain lessened. And one of the people was like, listen, you can go down this rabbit hole as deep as you want to fucking go, but ultimately you're just consciousness becoming conscious of itself. And really, it doesn't even fucking matter if you got imposter syndrome, an addict, if you got fucking cancer, if you've had a heart attack. None of that fucking matters. You can chase that till the bitter ends, or you can live in the present moment right now and enjoy the process. So I am starting to receive and believe more of things that before I used to believe were like my lack of self-worth, or
right.
I'm trying to step into the person that people are claiming that I am, and maybe believing it, and it's coming out. My resistance to it is coming out, and maybe the way I'm talking to my clients, or how I'm saturating a tattoo, or like it's coming out in different ways, and it feels. My body is ridding, my spirit is ridding myself of something that's not serving me, and it's a painful process because I'm like the monkey that how they catch monkeys, right? They take a coconut and they drill a hole in the coconut that's big enough for the monkey to stick its hand through, and they put a banana in there, and the coconut's connected to the chain, so the monkey sticks its hand in, grabs the banana, then you just walk up and kill the monkey because the monkey's too stupid to let go of the banana and it can run away. So it's like all this shit's coming out in different areas of my life because I'm just not letting go of the fucking banana.
There's another metaphor there. Because when your hand's clenched, try and put something in my hand right now.
Right.
And if my hand's closed, I can't even receive what you're trying to give me.
You cannot graft a new idea on a closed mind.
That's right. And so we must
like that, don't you, Mike?
Open to receive, right?
T-shirt.
And if that monkey could open his hand, he's free again.
Yep.
But he remains clenched. He's with a lack mentality. I'm holding on to this one piece of pie, this one banana, mine. It's the only one. And it kills him. You said a minute ago, I can follow that to the bitter end, or I can enjoy the process. I know we don't have much time left, so let's leave our listeners with a tangible process that they can start after listening to this episode to actually begin to implement this in their life. Right? If we all went to dinner right now and the waitress came up to our table, let's say the best food and the best chefs in the world are in this kitchen. Right? The waitress is the whole universe ready to take your order. We must start with you knowing what you even want to order. If you're just like, I don't know. I mean, then the universe is like, well, okay, well, what do you want? I don't really know. I mean, anything. You're not placing your order, but you're sitting there with an expectation in complaining about your food not even being here. It's the slow season, but you haven't even fucking placed your order. You're just showing up to the table whining about it being the slow season, whining about you don't even have dinner, whining that you can't even eat. Well, place the fucking order. It's that easy. The universe is like, are you ready yet? No, I'm not ready to order yet. Can you believe there ain't no fucking food in front of me right now? Wouldn't that be weird? Right?
That's a great analogy.
Let's say if Josh decided right now he's going to hop in his vehicle, him and Nicole, and they're headed to Dayton, Ohio, right? Now, if they just start driving, that's one thing. Until they actually punch my address into the GPS, or once they do, their odds of actually getting here just increased. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, they could start driving, but until they punch my address in and place their order, where are we going? Then God, the universe, source, can actually get them here and will even give them an ETA. But they must first place their order and punch in the address, right?
Correct.
So that's the foundation for it. I'm going to throw out some arbitrary numbers right here for you listeners. I don't know what your rates are or what you charge. He brought up a ceiling. We in Tattoo Business Mastery talk about a concept called your floor and your ceiling. What's your floor? Hey, we know your business fluctuates. You know, some weeks are better than others. We got cool clients, but whatever. But every artist, you have at least what we call a floor. Like no matter what, you at least know you're bringing this home every week to keep the lights on, to pay rent. And what is your floor? So let's say if your floor, your bare minimum is no matter what happens this week, I at least need to make $500, right? To keep my phone on and to keep bills, right? So if that's your floor, then we get you to create what would your ceiling be, meaning your dream weekly income. So if your average is 500, then let's say your dream number would be 2K. How could you implement some of this right now with the universe to take your 500 weeks up to 2K, right? You must first get clear on your own order. So on our way to 2K, let's make manageable chunks and say, let's go for 1,000 a week. If you're doing 500 every week, starting next week, set yourself the goal. You don't have to know how the chefs are making it in the kitchen. You just got to get clear on your order. Order up. I now declare and I want to make $1,000 a week. You can focus on that. The what you want. The how will reveal itself. All you got to do, I'm placing my order with the universe. Yes, I would like the steak. I would like $1,000 of revenue this week. How the chefs are going to make that and bring it out to you is on God. That's God's job. That's source. The universe being the waitress that's going to deliver that unto you, and they can handle all of that. And here's another thing about the universe, so abundance. There's no difference if you said 1,000 or 10 million. It's no skin off the universe's back. It's like a never-ending treasure, like unending. You could take some and poof, it replaces what you take. Like you could. There's never. It's never running out, right? So that's the good news. Order whatever the hell you want, but for your belief level, let's jump from 500 to 1,000, and you declare that. Right? Now you've gotten clear on placing your order. Now we can reverse engineer that. For you to make $1,000 next week tattooing, what does that look like? How many days a week do you got to work? How many tattoos do you have to do? Do you want to work 4 days and do a $250 tattoo each day? So now you're believing for the universe to send you 4 people, one a day, that's going to get a $250 tattoo. If you're $100 an hour, one person that you can tattoo for 2.5 hours a day for 4 days in a row, boom, you just hit your. And what I'm getting at is the importance of this is for you to define and decide your next goal. And so it's got to be a manageable chunk, something that's believable, but not completely believable like your floor, something that's a little stretching to you to where it would have to take some of this magic that Josh is talking about to actually make that happen. This is where you have to stay clear and true to your order. You can't place the order and then fucking shrink on it, right? And it's staying true to this. The how will reveal itself. The whole universe has no problems bringing you that $1,000, right? You think your money's coming from clients. It's not. It's coming from source, God, the universe, who can bring it to you through anyone, through anything. But this is why it's so important for you to get real clear on placing your order, i.e. creating a specific goal to step into. You do your part, create the goal, focus on it, even if you don't know how, and boom, you just freed up God, source, the universe to deliver the how unto you, right? Yeah. This is a part of the this is the starting line. You must know and place your order. That's the starting line. let how it's going to happen. That's where the learning will come in, because the how, you don't know it, and it's going to fucking blow your mind, and it can be so crazy and magical that then you can have a hard time receiving it because you'll feel like you're not worthy of this kind of love.
Right.
And this is where you're at again, Hip. I've seen you place your order, grow, achieve it. Then you raise it again. You place your order, grow, and achieve it. Talk about too good to be true. It's getting so good. You're getting so successful. You're getting so much love that here you are again, a new level of unworthiness popping up to be like, whoa, I don't deserve all this. Whoa, I may not be this good. I'm thankful for where I've come from and where I'm at today. And now I'm still growing and the universe is expanding, and which I need more tools to make the impact that I'm stepping into having and being and doing. And more love, more abundance is showing up in every area of your life. And there's that old you showing back up to be like, whoa, we're getting a little too crazy. Like, I don't know that I deserve this much love, right? That's who you're going to be facing again, right? It's at every level, yeah.
One of the things that's helped me, because the more money I would make, I guess it's just bred into me, I would start to feel guilty. I would feel like, well, how much money do you need? How much is enough? How much is too much?
Yeah.
And then when I started realizing that I could help those who need help that don't have it yet, that's what helped me, is the more I have, the more I can give.
That's right.
And for me personally, that's just something that
it
helped kind of clear that up. I'm not buying a bunch of jet skis. What am I doing?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And
I wouldn't be mad at you. I wouldn't be mad at you if you did.
Sure. It's just not me. Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Well, that's why he's headed to your house, because he's dropping off a jet ski.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man. You guys ain't got to, but my God, you get to. And this world is, if you take anything away from this today, it's maybe there's more to all of this journey. And maybe you're meant for more. Maybe more has already been provided for you. It's all at your fingertips. And what you think is been in the way from you receiving it isn't what you think. It's not the slow season. It's not the economy. It's not the town you're in. It's not the way your mentor is. It's not your technical ability not being at Carlton or Yogi's level yet. It's you, right? And your own self-worth and your own self-love. This is a process. This is what we walk people through and coach people through, and lives are continually transformed. This is our heart for you. I know today we've just thrown a lot at you. My prayer for you is that one of these was something we said today was a hellacious seed on the inside of you of hope that just maybe more what? More fulfillment, more freedom, more happiness, more life-giving experiences, more love in your relationships, more love for your craft, more passion starts to be birthed on the inside of you to cultivate and expand more of that. And when you get more on the inside of you, you're able to express and share and experience more with us, more with the rest of the world. Your gift makes room for you. You are not only worthy, but we need you to find your own worthiness and shine in your own gifting. You are the only you that's ever been created. We need you, and you have full permission to step into it. And along the way, we will continue to help you access the truest and best version of you, your best life. Again, if that whole reincarnation thing don't quite work out, this might be the only shot we got. Let's get it. I love Josh's heart of gratitude. 33 plus years, world renowned, and even now he is receiving and stepping into a more abundant life than ever before, and he's in such awe and wonder and still has a heart of gratitude with a beginner mindset. There's so much power in that. We love all of you. Thank you every week for tuning in faithfully to us and writing us. I really feel like this will turn into a second conversation, a second episode. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah, I was about to say, I have questions myself. So this is something I think that if you listeners want more, I'm real interested in carrying this on. And just a real quick wanted to thank everybody for listening and for making it this far.
Yes.
Speaking of giving, because somebody made it this far, I printed one of my prints backwards.
Oh, yeah.
I have crossed out the number and put test. And I want you to write something in the comment that this episode means to you. And I'm going to wrap this up and I'm going to send it to you. Because
Fuck yeah.
it's one of a kind. So
Oh, my God.
it's a little something. It's not.
Can I comment for that? Yeah, that's awesome.
Make sure you listeners check it out. I'm holding up to the good camera here.
Yes.
Let us know what this did for you. You want part 2 of this? I do.
Man.
We'll see you then.
Fuck yeah.
Yes, that's powerful. I haven't said that in a while. Hip, Josh, Mike, I love you 3 brothers. Thanks for being in my life. All you listeners and viewers, thanks for being in our life. We hope today's been impactful for you. Till next week, we'll see you then.